Okay, so this tutorial is understanding the concepts of distance and displacement through sports and activities. It might just be sports, but who knows, maybe I'll think of something else that's not directly a sport. Okay, so the big concepts are displacement, by definition, it is the straight line distance between 2 points. Alright, it has size, so for example 4 meters, 10 meters, and it has direction. So that would be west, east, up, down, positive or negative, or any other way you want to denote direction. The most common would be north, south, west, east, or positive y, negative y, and positive x, negative x. Alright, I guess we do here. North would be positive y, south would be negative y, west would be negative x, and east would be x. So it's just like math, just like the 4 quadrants of math. So that's displacement. Distance is simpler. Distance is just how far you travel, really. Yeah, distance, how far you travel. It has no direction. Distance has no direction because it's a scalar. Only a size, only a magnitude. So that means distance can only not move or increase. You can't go backwards distance. I mean, in order to go a backward distance, then somehow time would have to be reversible and you would have to go backwards in time. That's the only way I can think of undoing, say, you walking from one place to another. You could go back to the starting position, as in displacement. You can go back to the spot where you've been displaced not at all. So if I go here, okay, and this is me, so I go here, I travel a distance d to a spot here. Alright, my displacement is how far away I am from where I started. So let's go. I travel a distance d to get here, but my displacement is how far away I am from the starting point. So I can always go backwards and travel another distance so that my legs have walked twice as much, and then I end up back at my starting point right here. But I still didn't undo the distance. I became displaced 0. I went back to my start, but there's no undoing my legs unless you somehow go back in time. So that's a big way of how distance and displacement are different, I guess. And one thing I didn't note, the fact that displacement has direction means it's a vector. And you are always displaced. Your displacement is always relative to a reference point. So your displacement is always relative to a reference point. Okay, so that's those two. Now, those are the concepts we have to take with us when we're analyzing sports. So using d and delta x to analyze sport objectives. Okay, the in-class example I gave was football. Alright. Game of distance. Or displacement. Which one? Alright. So we say football is a game of displacement. Well, so let's go on this football field. We say it's a game of displacement because let's talk about first downs. Alright, so if the line of scrimmage is here, alright, you have to go 10 yards. You have to be displaced from the line of scrimmage 10 yards in order to get a first down. So now you can have football players playing, and you can have, let's say, here's your running back. Here's your running back. Your running back is given the football. And this running back can go all over here. It can go left to right, up and down. But in order to get the first down, the running back has to end up somewhere on this 10-yard, or this line that is 10 yards away from the start. If you look at the distance this running back traveled, it's a lot more than 10 yards. All right, it's a lot more than 10 yards. Look at all this. So that's a lot of distance traveled. And what mattered wasn't his distance, but his displacement. So football is a game of displacement. Try another sport. Another sport that we've talked about in class. We'll do high jump. No, not high jump. We'll do a representative thing. Track. Let's say the 1 mile run. Alright, so if we have our circular field, All right, is track a game of distance? So is track a game of distance or displacement? So, well, if this is, let's make a starting line. This can be our starting line. We have our runners here. All right, and the runner goes. They go, and they go, and they go, and to get to a mile, they go around 4 times. All right. And then they stop, and because they cross the finish line. So distance or displacement? Well, let's see. The runner is displaced 0 meters because the runner is right where the runner ends up right where he or she started. So it's like all of that 1 mile is basically nothing in the eyes of displacement. All right, but distance, on the other hand, well, distance, it doesn't matter where you start or where it ends up. All it really matters is that your legs move. So legs moved, you 1 mile in length. All right, your legs moved you around here 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the while, you were gaining more and more distance. So the distance equals 1 mile. So ultimately, a 1 mile run competition would be a game of distance. Now let's have you try some. So, let's think of sports. We'll give some that you might have already done and some you might not have. So we'll do a long jump. Distance or displacement? Okay, to pole vault. Distance, displacement. Golf. Is golf one? That might be tricky. Well, you figure it out. I don't know the answer to golf right now, but you have the tools, so figure out if it's distance. Distance is more important, if displacement is more important, or if, you feel like there may be some combination of both that are important. For that matter, try basketball. Yeah, is the displacement of, let's say, the ball more important? Or the displacement of the person more important? Or is the distance of the person, the distance of the ball? I don't know. You just think hard about it and come up with something that's logical. Because that's ultimately what this is all about. I never know the answer to these until I think about them. So, go ahead and think about them so you can tell me the answers. And we'll give one more We'll try to give you a little more closure with this one, knowing that I have an answer in mind that I think is right, which isn't always the case either, but regardless. Okay, stock car racing. So those are your problems. Study hard for the quiz. Think hard about this stuff, because the more you think, the easier it gets to come up with answers that really make sense. All right, that's it. Get this to me. Do these questions for me if you want the extra point back on your last test. All right.